Hello, my name is Rajdeep. Welcome to the next part of the video. Now, since we have already created the forest, we have created an Ansible user account. Now, our main objective is to how to transform the unsecure WinRM configurations that we have initially set up to be able to connect to the workgroup system. Now, since it's a domain environment, we need to secure the connectivity between our Ansible node and the member servers or to all the domain systems, right? So let's begin. Before we begin, let's quickly check what our objective is. So let me open PowerShell on the member server or the domain controller. We'll quickly check the current winrm settings. Okay, so we have both HTTP and HTTPS listener enabled. So our objective is we will disable the HTTPS, right? So over here in our services, we have allow unencrypted connections to true. We will set it to false, so only secure connections will be allowed. And we have our basic authentication set to true, so we will no longer use basic authentication. We will make use of CredSSP. Okay, so now let's move on to our Ansible system. So I already have the script to disable the HTTP protocol. I'm going to add two more lines to disable basic authentication and unencrypted connection type for WinRM. So for that, I'll add the command. Okay, so our script is ready. So the first command will disable the HTTP. The second command will be disable the basic authentication. The third one will disable the unencrypted connection type. So let me quickly just go through unencrypted, allow unencrypted. That looks good. So let's save this file. Okay, I have this file saved in my Ansible directory. So let's go back here. Okay, my script file is ready. So let's go back to our Ubuntu and okay, let's do a quick check if we have the file. Okay, so there we go. We have our file copied over to our temp scripts folder in our Ubuntu system. I already have copied the win copy module. So if I go back, let's find out the win copy module. So there you go. This is the win copy module, so which allows you to copy files from your Ansible system to the remote PC, etc. So you can further do the reading, what all other tasks can be completed using the win copy module. So let's go back here, and I already have the copy execute file ready. So now instead of the host systems, we will use domain. Since we have already confirmed that the ANC-SBC account is able to talk to the domain controller, right? So the name of the module is WinCopy. So this is my source folder where my script is, which is stamp scripts disable, the name of the script, followed by the destination where we would like to copy this file over. So this is on my domain controller, see Ansible uh, location. And then we are using another module that is win command. We are going to invoke PowerShell and ask PowerShell to run this script. Okay, so let's save this. There you go. Copy and execute, right? So let's run the playbook now. Hit enter. Okay, it's gathering the facts. In the meantime, we can come back to our server and just check if the file is copied. It's not yet. Okay, the gathering facts is complete, as you can see in the background over here. Now it is doing the first play, that is copying the file. There you go. So our file has successfully been copied from our Ansible node to the domain controller. The next is going to execute the script. So once the execution is complete, we will confirm the winrm settings on our system. Now bear in mind, because we haven't configured our host file, inventory file, in a way that it can securely communicate, so we might lose the connectivity. In the meantime, let's quickly run through our, there you go. So if you do a comparison, okay, let's go back to our Ansible node here. Because we have made the changes to our basic authentication set to false, HTTP is no longer enabled, and we are no longer using any unsecured connection type. So that's why, we see that it has failed, but it did make some changes. Okay, so this error is absolutely fine. Now, if we go back to our Windows Server system, if we do a winrm check for listeners, we only have HTTPS. So previously we had both HTTP and HTTPS. Now let's do a get command, winrm. Okay, our basic is false, but allow unencrypted to true. It's still set to true. Let's go back to our script file to see. It's set to the correct allow unencrypted to false. It should have changed this value, but it did not. For now, let's run this command again. Okay, that's set to false now. So let's go back here. There you go. So instead of allow, there was a typo error which is all, right? So we should have written it as allow. My bad, sorry about that. So technically this command should work, but there was a typo error, so that's why it didn't work. So, but that's absolutely fine. Since we have access to the server, we have made this change. But since we want it to happen automatically via the Ansible playbook, so we need to make sure that we are writing the commands correctly without any syntax error or any typo error, right? So it's a learning lesson. Perfect. All right, so now we have set up the or secured the WinRM connection. So what is next? All right, so now if we go back to our Ubuntu and we do a ping to check the reachability between the Ansible and the server, it's going to fail, right? Because we haven't defined the variables to securely connect. Okay, okay, so it has failed. Now let's open our host file. Let's see, Ansible host. Okay, so let's jump to the variables under domain. So our username and password is correct. So we are going to use, yes, winrm. So we are going to use CredSSP and we are going to ignore the certificate validation because we're not, we are using a self-signed certificate. So Ansible WinRM service set validation ignore. Okay. So now let's save this file. And we'll check if our ping works this time. Perfect. So as you can see the transition, right? So when we begin, we started with an secure WinRM connectivity between the Ansible server and the workgroup server. So once we promote it to a domain controller or add it to the domain network, then we have secured our WinRM connectivity by using the script that we have prepared to disable the HTTP and allow only HTTPS. We have disabled the basic authentication. We have also disabled the allow unencrypted type connectivity to false. So once that is complete, we modified our host file and our inventory file to only allow credit SSP method and also to ignore the certificate validation so that there is no certificate error generated for the self-signed one. And once it is complete, we are able to successfully do a ping. So now we have a secure connectivity between our Ansible node and the server or the forest, right? So that concludes this part of the video. Thank you for watching.